How goes the family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you guys having a great and exceptional day. It's late Sunday night and I'm still getting it in because, like I said, I'm trying to get things done before I head to Atlanta. I'm not going to be doing much posting while I'm down there because, that's what vacation's for. And usually I take all my equipment with me when I go, when I go out of town. But I pay the extra fee at the airport, all the good stuff. But you know what? This time around, it's not worth it because I'm going to a town that I haven't been to in 9 years, and it's time for me to just have some me time. You gotta one of the best money moves you can make is being able to just enjoy some leisure time and enjoy life. Life is too short. The pandemic has taught us that on so many levels. All right. But anyways, the story I'm talking about today kind of coexists with that. Now, I came across an incredible article today that basically amplifies my mindset slash point in regards to retirement. Because an employer will tell you that retirement has everything to do with how much you save and obviously being in a specific age range of 62 years old and up. But that is not entirely true, family. You have been lied to on so many levels. I know a lot of working people don't want to hear this, but you have been lied to on so many levels. And even before I go on, a lot of working people will want to argue with me over the lie that they've been told. But it is what it is. That's what happens when you've been brainwashed for so long. Because the best way to get brainwashed and to believe in certain things is it has to put you in a comfort zone. Because a lot of times the truth takes people out of the comfort level. We see that all the time. You see that in the school system on a regular basis. Half of the standardized education, especially from a history standpoint, is a big flat out lie most of the time because they don't want to make people feel uncomfortable or anything of that nature. Well, history is not always pretty. The current isn't always pretty, as you saw with the unfortunate shooting that happened in Buffalo a couple of days ago. My heart goes out to the families out there. I don't condone violence on any level outside of self-defense, and that was a straight up domestic terrorist act that occurred at that facility in Buffalo the other day. That's my opinion. There's no arguing about it. I'm leaving it at that, all right? But anyways, the first time I heard the statement that I am about to say was back in 2019. About to say 2009, but 2019. Seems like it was forever ago, but it really wasn't. But it is so true to today, family, in 2022. And I repeat, retirement has nothing to do with age, but everything to do with income. And today's article displays why working people need to look at the idea of retirement in a different capacity. The article started off on this note stating that when Lakeisha Simmons retired back in May of 2021, so this was a year ago, it was, because we're in May 2022 now, it was just the end of her professional career. It was also the first time she had stopped working since she was the age of 14. And I can understand that because when you work that long, a lot of times it's like, hey, because she's 41 years old, well, now she's 42. Back when this article was written, she was 41. It could take a toll on you. When you've been working that long, you're supposed to quote unquote retire, to be honest with you, because usually they say, you work until your early 20s, until your 60s and whatnot. But you work until you're 14, until you're in your 40s, you're ready to retire. You're ready for something different. And retirement in another aspect, all right? Because the 41-year-old mother of two, like I said, now she's 42, because this article was written last year, she always considered having a job to be the matter of financial security. Most people do. Watching family members work with their hands, doing cleaning jobs, janitorial jobs, nanny jobs, instilled in her a strong work ethic, she says. There was no job below my family, and I respect that as well. Because a job is a job. I don't care what you do. They taught me, she said, that you do what you have to do to take care of your family. Amen to that. But she said, I also knew that I wanted better and they wanted better for me too. And at the end of the day, it always boils down to that burning desire to want better for yourself. Heck, the determined animal who feels caged in their environment will always at least try to find a way to get out of that form of slavery / prison. My little dog, I got a little dachshund, always tries to find a way to get free from his cage. And he has a bad back. I have to give him medication twice a day, but my man is still willful and still try to do what he has to do. The article also stated that for the past decade, Mrs. Simmons has worked in academia, most recently as an associate professor at Nashville's Belmont University. In 2020, she earned $150,000 between her salary and side hustles. Now, before I go forward, remember, making $150,000 and a year, regardless of how you do it, in the state of Tennessee, it's a great salary. It's kind of making like $200,000 because I'm from the DMV area. So when you make $100,000 a year, it's still a decent salary, but that's basically becoming middle class. But in the state of Tennessee, that's way upper middle class right there. It's top tier, top earners and whatnot. But it shows you it's not always about how much you make. It's about where you live at. It's about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. It's about how much time you can spend with your family and for yourself. That's what matters, because a lot of times you earn salaries like that, you're going to work more than 40 hours a week. And with a family, it makes it even tougher a lot of times, all right? But anyways, so last spring, Mrs. Simmons retired after accumulating $850,000 in investments. That's a money move right there if I never heard of one. Through her journey towards FIRE, which stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early, and I only heard about this back in 2019, but I love the FIRE movement, had been in the works since since she decided back in 2017 that she wanted to retire by age 45. Mrs. Simmons had a hard time allowing herself to step away from her work. She said, "I was really nervous about quitting my full-time job. I had too much anxiety around it because all I've known is how to work." And I can understand that, because most of us who went through most of these school systems, whether public or private, were only taught, and with our families, were only taught the importance of being a good, obedient employee, a bill payer, and a citizen. Anything wrong with that? No. But it's the beauty of America is you have the opportunity to do your own investigating, your own research, to see, hey, okay, I've been taught well to do those specific things that I just mentioned earlier, but what else can I add on to that? There's a way to do something else and not just be an obedient employee and pay bills and be a good citizen. But the conversation of truly going after your passions and the things that you get up in the morning and living a life that you do not always want to take a vacation from should always be on the goal outside of surviving. Because in the social media age, I see hot girl summer, hot boy summer. I'm not mad at people going out having a good time, but majority of the time that consists of people spending more money just so they can get, that's the thing of vacation. And look, I'm a guy that's taken plenty of vacations, plenty of trips, but the sad thing about vacation, when you have a job that you don't particularly care for, you have a life you don't particularly care for, it's great in the moment, and you should be the most happiest person in your life when you're on vacation and away from the job that you don't particularly care for, and away from the community you don't particularly care for. But the thing is, you're spending a lot of money, and that money could be put towards savings and investments. That's another thing that even I myself have taken into consideration. I think I went on a vacation rampage last year, 2021, because 2020, the lockdown, I was like, look, I got to get out of the DMV because I don't particularly care to live there, and I got to get around and be around some more laid-back people. I usually go down south to Texas, or go to the West Coast, to California, to Nevada, to Arizona, and whatnot. So that's what I did last year. All right, but anyways, let's get off of me. We'll talk about this young lady. The article also stated that Mrs. Simmons went through a divorce in 2017, unfortunately, which can be devastating, whether you're male or female. But it also made her reevaluate her finances and decide to retire early. And when life events happen, family, it can help make things better for us or make things worse for us. That's just how it just depends on how you look at the situation. But Mrs. Simmons stated that when I learned about FIRE, it completely changed my perspective. I was exposed to this idea that if you save and invest more than the status quo, then you can have all the time in the world to enjoy and pursue your passions because you don't have to work for someone else. In order to save up enough to be able to retire early, Mrs. Simmons' first move was to find ways to cut down her expenses. She quickly realized that the elephant in the room was the $2,400, and that's crazy. Even in the state of Tennessee, that is insane. $2,400 monthly mortgage on her 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house. So she decided to sell the house and move into a 2-bedroom apartment with her kids. And most people would probably say that was crazy she was real crazy for doing that, but I commend her on so many levels for doing this, because having an overpriced home and an overpriced car is definitely overrated in 2022. In certain instances, it's not about your income, but it's all about your spending and cost of living, family. Mrs. Simmons also switched to a prepaid cell phone plan, got rid of her cable, and started making more meals at home. And she said she was able to save up to $100,000 within the first year. The financial breakdown is that Mrs. Simmons keeps more than 50% of her investment portfolio in an S&P 500 index fund, around 25% of her money in a total stock market index, and the rest of it in a mix of bonds and some individual stocks in companies like Apple and Amazon. Remember, family, that the new form of retirement is living life on your terms, because the article ended on this note saying that now Mrs. Simmons takes time to work on her side hustles, which includes a financial coaching service and an Etsy shop. Combined, her side hustles bring in between $1,000 and $3,000 in revenue, depending on the month. So when you combine this with living in a cheap state like Tennessee, it is a recipe for greatness. Mrs. Simmons stated that I've always been a master of my money and figuring out my goals and doing the research to make those goals happen, she says. But just recently, I started helping others because I realized that what good is it if I'm getting ahead financially and building wealth, but my own family and friends aren't able to build wealth too. And that's the really big main reason why I made this video about this young lady, because this amazing young lady, because she is not only beautiful on the outside, she's beautiful on the inside because she's giving back to others. The beautiful thing about today's world, whether you want to believe it or not, is social media. Because we are at a place in our time where we can say, hey, I'm successful, let me show you how to do it. Let me at least give you the one-by-one step process. Whether you got to pay for it or not, that's another story. But people don't have a qualm about having to pay to get a certification or get a degree. But I will see people complain like little kids and whine and go, well, all they're missing is a bottle and a diaper, because they will cry and whine about having to pay a certain fee to get access to people like this. But the thing is, if Master P had to pay Michael Jackson's former lawyer at the time, $100,000 to have a conversation with him for a couple of hours, I think paying $50 a month, $100 a month, a couple $100 is well worth the investment. Because you see what Master P's life is at now, and you see what most working people's life is at because they don't want to pay for something. You got to pay to play in this life, regardless of the situation. And because people love to get fooled and think that they're saving money because they get a couple of dollars off, a couple of percentages off, because you got a store card or because you got some coupons, but you're still living a mediocre existence. And you got to ask yourself, do you want to live a mediocre existence? If that's what you want, then fine. But don't complain like a little kid when you're in a position where the cost of living is going up and your income isn't going up because you wanted to be mediocre. That is a problem with a lot of working people today. They want to be mediocre, but they don't want things to be so expensive, and life doesn't work that way. Now, certain things are not in your power, but certain things are within your power. And the fact that she cut her cost of living, the biggest thing is she cut her cost of living down. Most people live in these big houses. Hey, I'm even guilty of this myself. And a lot of the houses a lot of the space in the house doesn't get utilized. It collects dust because we bought into this American dream of, hey, I gotta have a bigger house, I gotta have the fly car, everything's gotta be spacious and whatnot. Usually people are doing this to impress people. And the beautiful thing about the pandemic is less and less people were visiting each other's houses. I think that's changed now, but during that time frame, a lot of people were like, hey, don't come to my house unless it's business related. And you better have a mask on, or you better be vaccinated, or whatever have you. But a lot of people didn't care. I've never been a fan of people coming to my house anyway, so the pandemic just intensified that. But I will say that having the 5 bedrooms, 3 bathroom, 4 bathroom house, a lot of times it is overrated. It really is. I can't put it any other way. Because if you're not in a position where you can save more money and invest more money, in today's economy, you're hustling backwards. I don't care what state you're living in. You can live in Texas, you can live in Tennessee, you can live in New York, you can live in Virginia, Maryland, DC. It doesn't matter. The Carolinas, Georgia, Florida. If you're a rich person, if you're a business owner, if you're a working person, and the house you live in is sucking you dry financially, why are you living there if you don't really need to? I give it up to the immigrants. Like, they'll buy a big house, but they might have 15 people living up in there. But there's a goal outside of it, outside of just owning the house. They use that house as an asset in order for them to buy more houses, and because they're going to put the 1,000 houses in various people's names, and they're going to be able to, if they want to, utilize the equity from those houses and put that money together in order for them to own a business, whether it's a restaurant, car shop, cleaners, laundromat. You see where I'm going with this. This money thing is a real freaking deal. And I get very angry and upset when people act like it's not a big deal. It really is. The biggest floss is what I'm talking about with this young lady right here, Lakeisha Simmons. She flossed on society saying, hey, I'm going to live below my means for a couple of years. I'm going to cut my cost of living down. I'm going to move from my nice, luxurious house to a 2-bedroom apartment. My 2 kids are going to have to deal with being roommates with each other. But we put money away and we are investing. So I can live a life where I can spend more time with my kids. And I can live a life where I don't have to be stressed out of my job. And I can focus on my side hustles and do what I'm more passionate about in regards to being a financial coach. Selling products on Etsy. I'm sure she's making content because everybody is nowadays. So this money thing is real, family. I mean, I really had to hit the nail on the head on this one. The money game is the real game, and if you're not trying to play to win, you are losing, regardless of who's sitting in the White House, State House, Mayor's House. That's media nonsense in 2022. Fox News and CNN, MSNBC, they do a great job of keeping people distracted off of this crap. But this woman said, I'm going to cut out all that minutia, that nonsense, and focus. You can't put a price tag on that. That's what I'm saying. You can't put a price tag on the fact that she buckled down and by herself, no husband, her and her kids. Hopefully, I'm sure she might have child support or whatnot. But when you're good with money, whoo, there's so many things you could do. Shout out Snoop Dogg. The reason why you can still talk, shout out Dr. Dre. The reason why you can even shout out Kanye West, T.I. The reason why we can still talk about these people in 2022 is because they're making money moves outside of where they began. She began as a college professor. Now she's a boss. Snoop Dogg and Dre and Kanye West started off as producers and rappers. Now they're billionaires and millionaires. Need I rest my case. Steve Harvey started off as a freaking comedian. Now he's hosting television shows all over the world, not just America, but all over the world. Need I say more? You'd be amazed what you could do with your life when you start thinking outside of the box. You'd be amazed what you could do with your life when you get away from the basic-minded people. You will be amazed what you could do with your life. Because she might have been an employee at Tennessee State University. But now she's a boss and she's running her own business. And the thing is, I know if she was a professor at a university, she had a master's degree. She could always be an adjunct professor and just go to teaching part-time and whatnot. Adjuncts are basically contractors. So, self-employed contractors. So, hey, get some more tax write-offs, go from there if she wanted to. And that's the thing. It's like, to me, when you get, by the time you get in your, if you're a professional, I don't care if you're blue collar or white collar, by the time you get in your late 30s on up and whatnot, you should be putting yourself in a position where you have more options. Even if you have a business, you should be putting yourself in a position where you have more options, because the status quo is you're just supposed to be in a position where you're settled in your career or settled in your business, and that's supposed to be in the end of that. But I call that the 1990 mindset. In 2022, that doesn't fly. And I respect this woman, and that's why I'm continuously going. And I respect everybody that's a part of the FIRE movement, because these are regular working people that are saying, I do not subscribe to the 1980s and 90s mindset of being an employee and working till the day I die. I've seen the FIRE movement from people that live in Georgia, Tennessee, Seattle, California, New York, Texas. It's all over the place. Because who you spend your money with and who you bank with and who you invest with holds way more power than who you vote for. Because I know we got a congressional election coming up, and I could care less who's running. She could care less who's running. Because she's living a life on her terms. It's like my brothers from Fatherhood University say, own your time and space. She owns hers. On that note, family, don't forget to check out Larry's Anything Goes online Shopify store. Support your local entrepreneurs. I greatly appreciate it. If you're a crypto investor, think about joining Gold Standard Partners, where you not only have the opportunity to invest in crypto, but you have the opportunity to refer others to do the same thing, make money off their package purchases and crypto purchases. Also, if you're a crypto and stock market investor, bond investor, individual retirement account investor, think about joining WEBULL, think about joining Coinbase, think about joining Crypto.com, Acorn Stash, all the good stuff. Sign up with those platforms, put some money in there. You'll be able to get up to a couple of dollars, up to $100 in cash, stocks. All the information is there when you sign up, all right? On that note, family, remember, you can't get fired if you own the company. It's 2022. It's time for you to own something, all right? Do the great free things, like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. As I always say, make money moves, or you're going to live broke like a fool. Take care.